This looks familiar. For those of you who have never seen this on my channel before, this is my aunt's Allegro Champion model MUA50 central vac power unit. You're wondering why this is not hung up like it's supposed to. I wonder why. That's funny. The hand looks like it's been taken apart now, does it? Oh wait. There's no motor inside. How did that happen? Well, I think I might know what the problem is. This is what happens when you choose to use this as a bagless instead of using disposable bags. So this power unit was installed in 2021, a year after this house was built. And then a couple of years later, the motor was having problems. The motor bearings had gone way worse than it had in my previous video with this. So we contacted the company, and rather than having them send us a brand new motor, because this thing is under warranty, they wanted us to take the old motor out and ship it directly to them. And because this company is located in Canada, we'd have to deal with international shipping, which would take several weeks, if not a month, to get the parts back, or at least give us a new part. That's one of the reasons why I'd prefer to buy something locally, since I'm in the United States. So how did this happen? Why did this cause the motor to go bad? I mean, what's wrong with bagless? So the whole purpose of having that bagless machine is that you don't need to buy bags. Some power units like VacuFlow, for example, you can see what's coming into the clear dirt canister. And then last but not least, if you were to accidentally pick up something like you shouldn't, like a ring, for example, you can easily open up the canister and retrieve that item out without having to open and tear up through inside the bag, unless if you have one of those open bag filtrations that you'd see on a MD power unit. So those are the advantages. But these are the downfalls, and one of which is what caused the motor to go bad. So this power unit has what's called a inverted filter. It's a design that's been around for many decades. It's not just used by Allegro, but it's with many other brands like Beam, etc. For those of you who are not familiar with how inverted filter works, basically what it is like a bag inside that wraps around the unit. That's what this ring is for. And so basically the whole purpose is that the filter self-cleans by itself. Now let me explain. When the power unit is turned on, the filter goes up inside of here, and then it creates a cyclonic action where it would collect all the heavier stuff onto the bottom, and whatever it doesn't go to the bottom would catch into the filter. And once the filter turns off, all the dust that gets collected onto there, when the filter flies down, would all fall into the canister. To me, that's just such BS. The filter does not work. I mean, not entirely. I mean, some dust can fall into the canister, but not all of it. There's a reason why in instruction manuals why whenever you empty these out, you must wrap a garbage sack around the canister and shake the filter out, because you'd be surprised by how much dust would be in that filter, and also by noticing the performance after you shake the filter out. So that's one problem, is that when the filter clogs up, it restricts airflow, stressing the motor even more. That would shorten the life of it. And then also, this inverted filter is the only filter for this vacuum, and it doesn't have many layers inside of it. So even the smallest molecule of dust can escape through the filter, not just even through it, but also even go through around the seal of the filter as well. That can go inside, get into the motor, into the bearings, and just mess it up completely. So that's what happened with this machine. Even though this is a bypass motor, this is one of those motors that could possibly handle some dust that can go through inside the motor, unlike the other type, which is called a through flow. It can still mess up the motor, especially the best cyclonic central vacuums, which is VacuFlow in my opinion. No matter what, any dust that would get through inside the motor would still just shorten it completely. And it's also one of the reasons why the through flow motors need to have extra layers of protection, like MD manufacturing, for example. So my uncle has a Flowmaster M or F650T. It uses a through flow motor. When I was down there the last time, somebody had inserted the bag in incorrectly. And then what I really like about this design is that the bag is not just only one filter. It also has a filter that catches any dust that would leak through and catch into that. They call it a supporting bag. And then also whatever dust that would still come out through the supporting bag would catch into the filter that's that's underneath, or that's above the motor where it's at. So even after cleaning all of that out and reinserting the bag in correctly, the motor in that thing still works just fine. So it's definitely worth, in my opinion, paying the extra insurance to make the motor last a lot longer. I mean, yes, not only you have to buy bags, but also you'd have to wait to get it shipped to you. I guess depending on where you buy bags from, sometimes you can even just buy them from places like Amazon and have it shipped directly to you. But what would you rather sacrifice? Having to wait a couple days or even a week to have bags come to you? Or would you rather wait several weeks or even a month for the motor to come back to you? Personally, I'd rather go for the bag route, because the thing about bag machines that the bagless companies are not telling you about is that they are easier to clean and maintain. They also are better for the environment. Like, it would just filter out all the dust you would suck into the canister and vent out through the outside. Yeah, it can definitely trap all that dust. So, and that's the second reason. And then the last but not least is that they do hold more capacity. Yes, even a lot more than this. So you're not having to empty it and clean out your canister as much. So yeah, as you can basically see here, all that dust, that's from maintaining it. I like bag machines just because they are cleaner to empty, and also having to do the extra work to shake out all the filters. Not with a bagged machine. I can just change the bag out in like maybe less than 10 seconds, and I would just be up and good, and that thing would just work like brand new. So, and I'm definitely one of those people that really does care about the environment. So I'd rather not only filter out all the dust from inside the home, but also through outdoor as well. And plus, it's definitely nice to still have the motor working instead of having it die. Because unfortunately, I had to bring one of my machines up here to help clean my aunt's place because the motor has still not come yet. And it's been a few weeks now when we shipped the motor out to them. I don't know if they are either rebuilding it for us or shipping us a new motor. I mean, I don't know. To me, I think it's funny that then they wanted us to send a motor to them instead of having to send a new one to us directly, because I know exactly what's wrong with this. It's not even worth the warrant of having to take it apart to see and figure out what's wrong with it, because there's really nothing defective about this. It's just the way that they work. Overall, at the end of the day, despite that, I still recommend Allegro for anybody that's looking for a budget central vacuum, because these are exceptionally well units for the money. And even before the motor failure, this thing was working great. It was powerful. It's not very loud. I'll admit, it's a really gorgeous looking unit. But yeah, if this thing would have been using bags, I would have not been recording this. And I could technically convert this as a bagged unit. I mean, I can easily put an adapter and put bags through here. But the problem, though, is because my aunt is using this as a garage vacuum as well, they're actually using that utility valve, and there are no bags currently that can fit through there. So we're actually stuck with using it as a time being. And I think there's no doubt in my mind when this machine fails again, not if, because right now we're planning on fixing this up. I think this power unit is going to get replaced at the end of the day. Probably my recommendation would be, if they would listen to me, would either be an MD Flowmaster F650T like what my uncle has, or the MD modern day M715H. Both of those are excellent power units. They're made in America, triple the filtration, very powerful, got an amazing warranty, great customer service. Those would be one of my two top choices. But if my aunt does want to just still use her system as a bagless, I would at least put in a VacuFlow 566Q, because I think those are the best bagless power units on the market today. However, the only problem that's standing in the way of putting in the VacuFlow is that the power unit would need to be vented outside, because it is technically a requirement. So they'd have to chisel a wall through there and filter out all the dust that would be vacuumed out through the power unit. And my uncle definitely does not like the idea of doing that. But if you wanted a bagless, that's, in my opinion, the best. It's a true cyclonic unit. I find that those don't clog up as much as these. They are a little bit cleaner to maintain than these. Also American made, great warranty. I also had good customer service from them as well. But personally, if this were my place, I would definitely be using bags all the way. So that's about it. So yeah, if you do get one of these, which again, I'd still recommend, please, I would highly encourage you to use bags, because otherwise you're just going to have the same problem like we did. Anyways, that's about it. Thanks for watching.